Hey y'all, it's your girl Jazz sitting in for Lloyd tonight. Welcome to Live with Lloyd. Welcome to Live with Lloyd. We have a lot to cover tonight, so let's just get through our sponsors. First, let's start with our forecast, and then we're going to get through our sponsors, and then we're going to talk about our topic tonight because we have a lot to discuss with Mr. Dame Dash. So, starting with our forecast, today is Monday, September 29th, 2025. We have the sun in Libra, the moon in Capricorn. It is a 9 universal month, a 4 universal week, an 11 universal day. Today is a day for Leos, Aquariuses, Cancers, and those who are born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, and the 29th of the month. Getting into our sponsors, tonight's show is sponsored by moi. So definitely pick up my book, Knocking from the Inside. Purchase it at my site, jazzaphrodite.com. It's also available on Audible now. So pick that up. Then we have Soul First. So Uchenna Hackett, who is a guest on the show, has released the book Soul First. Definitely pick it up from Amazon. It is available for Amazon. In fact, it is free. I put the link in the chat, so you should see that now. But pick that up. Soul First, Master 24 Hours, Master Life. It is free. Download it. It is an ebook, so you don't have to worry about getting the physical book. Then we have Numerologics, your keys chart consult, $20 off. The sale ends today. So get your chart with your key name, your key dates, your key days, your key periods, and your life path, and your birth name. In fact, pick up your air signs reflection journal. There is one for every element. Pick up the air signs. I got my earth signs. I'm going to show you the other three in a second, but definitely pick them up. We got the fire signs reflection journal. Pick that up if you're a fire sign. You can pick it up for the earth signs reflection. You can also do the water signs. And if you know your sun, moon, and rising, you can purchase all three or purchase the ones that are applicable to your sun, moon, and rising signs. Then we have our brother King Simon Numerovation Consultation. There is a Virgo discount that ends. Well, it ended already, so I'm pretty sure he may extend it. But this is for seniors, so it's a 40% discount rate for 30 and 60-minute sessions only, 60 years and older. So text to 347-496-1022 for details. And then we have Nicholas Brooklyn celebrating over 50 years in the business, 1396 Fulton Street. In fact, Nicholas Brooklyn has an event coming up this Saturday, October 4th from 1 to 5, 1396 Fulton Street in Brooklyn. And that is the day before Atlantic Antic. So if you are in the Brooklyn area, Atlantic Antic is on Atlantic Avenue on the 5th of October as well. So you go to Nicholas Brooklyn on the 4th, go to Atlantic Antic on the 5th, and you have a nice weekend out. The weather is beautiful in New York still. Then we have Manifest on Purpose podcast by Kimberly, using your mindset principles to manifest the life that attracts your desires. In fact, pick up the Business of Numerology book by Kimberly, and you can get a free mini business profile. And so you will purchase and read the book, leave a review on Amazon, take a screenshot, and then email your screenshot, your business name and incorporation date or conception date to manifestonpurpose@gmail.com. Pick up the book on Amazon. I purchased mine as well. And then get your Recept app as well. So call Rex for queries, and that is 1-772-271-7966. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen to download your receptionist app for your business. Then you're going to get the monthly newsletter. September ends tomorrow, so definitely subscribe to Lloyd's newsletter list on his website. You can also catch the September forecast on YouTube, on Kimberly's YouTube channel. Download the Star 8 app. You can download it for Apple and for Google Play. And you can check Lloyd out on our friend Big E's astrology channel coming in October. This is October 2nd. So this is this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all, we got a lot going on. We always give you so much information, so many resources. So you can never say that we leave you undone, all right? So definitely tap in and be a part of that family. So we got a lot to cover tonight. I want to just give my shout outs. So shout out to Stephen Williams. Hello and blessings to you and your beautiful wife. Thank you for always supporting. Peace and blessings to Queen D. What is going on? Hello, my yo-yo. Peace and love. Peace and love. Melanated Brown. Peace and love to you as well for always being in the chat. All right, so let's get started. All right, family. So I want you to get ready. You know, when I do my presentations and I break things down, I always involve you in the conversation because I want it to be interactive. All right. So we're going to break down Dame Dash. And a lot of people watched the Breakfast Club interview on September 16th. So I want you to take your phones out and scan this QR code on the screen and put in the number. That is pound 2410317. And I want you to answer this question. What are your thoughts about the Breakfast Club interview with Dame Dash? So if you are not using your phone, get your phone out, take a picture, scan this QR code. If you're on your computer, just go to slido.com and put this number in. Either way, you have access to it, but let's get your thoughts up. I want to see what's going on. It's going to come up on the screen so we can see. In fact, let me scan it right here and do it as well so we are all a part of the conversation. This is an interactive app. This is my comment right here. Whenever Dame comes on the show, it's always a classic. It's always one for the records, one that we watch years and years later. So put your comments in, scan and put your comments in. It takes nothing but 2 minutes. Hi, Joyce. How are you, darling? It's my Trini sister. What's going on, Gil? What's going on, Gil? All right, Dame was very rude. He couldn't address his concerns off the air. Or you saying he could have addressed his concerns off air. All right, okay. That's fair. He was rude. What else do we have? Peace and love, Vanetta Sutton. Welcome, welcome. Yes, could have. Don't worry, I got you. I understood what you said. That's it. It was a classic and he was rude. I know we have so many other things that we want to say about that Dame Dash interview. It was very entertaining. It was funny. Extremely funny. Haven't watched it. That's fair. Definitely watch it after this show. Raw and unfiltered. Word. Definitely raw and unfiltered. It always is, though. Hey, that girl from yonder. Thank you, darling. You know I have to get dressed for the family. Blessings, Jackie. From one Jackie to another. Blessings. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to move on to the next one to get your feedback, all right? So that's what we have for that one. Let's see what the next one says. Oops, my bad. Is Dame having a breakdown or a breakthrough? Is Dame having a breakdown or a breakthrough? Okay, we got half and half. One breakdown, one breakthrough. What else we got? More people. All right. So is he having a breakdown or a breakthrough? All right, so it's half and half. It's even. Okay, so some say he's having a breakdown. The other half says he's having a breakthrough. Let's see. Let's see what the numbers are saying. All right, so Thank you for participating in my chat, the four of us. So looking at this, Dame Dash born May 3rd, 1971, right? And so the three, you got to be very cognizant of these numbers with the three, because threes are very expressive, but they're also very emotional. When you have that fire number energy, when you have the 1 to 3, the 9, those are all fire numbers. And so they go from 0 to 1,000 really quickly. They have emotional outbursts if they are agitated or if they're passionate about something, and it takes them a very long time to decompress. So that 3 will always look to be very combative and confrontational, because that's just the way that they express themselves. And so you have to be very understanding of the numbers to really appreciate people for who they are. Not saying that that behavior is warranted in every setting, but that is the nature of a 3. And he is a pure 3. And yes, he is a Taurus. He is a Taurus 3. His numbers are the 3, 6, and 9 Tesla numbers. So he is definitely a creative. And he is 54 years old. And so when we're looking at Dame Dash, I want to look at the name, right? And I am always talking about this name. I started out with numerology telling you guys that the name is one of the most important things to pay attention to when you take a name on. And so when I look at the name, I'm looking at it from both perspectives. I'm looking at it from the Pythagorean alphabet and also the Chaldean alphabet, because I want to see how these vibrations are working on both sides of the game. Just because you honor one alphabet over the other doesn't mean that the other alphabet isn't working in the background. And so we need to be aware of what these numbers are saying. So Dame, 14 in both alphabets. Now, 14 is a number of karmic debt. It talks about addictions. And so in a past life, overindulging in sex, drugs, food, alcohol, gambling, anything that soothes the five senses, right? Because 5 is a number that it just wants to be appealed to the senses. It needs to socialize. It needs to talk. It needs to be involved in worldly things. And so not only is he a 3 with that talkative and explosive energy, he is a 5 with that Dame. And so again, talkative energy. And so that 14 talks about addictions, having an addictive personality. But the 14 is saying that you need to exercise balance and moderation. So even if you are indulging in those things, knowing when to stop. And so people are often complaining about how he's such a big weed head. 14.5, 14 is prone to addictions. And so if you have that 14 anywhere in your chart, you are prone to that energy. But as your name is your expression. It's what you're here to share with the world. And so obviously it's going to be something that is prevalent if it's in the name. As well, Dash. Dash is a 13 in the Pythagorean alphabet, and it's a 14 in the 13 in the Chaldean, 14 in the Pythagorean alphabet. And so when we're looking at this 14, 13, this is a 27, 9. And so 13 is a number of karmic debt, meaning in a past life, you weren't doing your share of the work. And so in this lifetime, you have to hustle. You have to work hard. Everything is on you. You are required to put the work in or nothing gets done. Nobody's coming to help you. It's a strictly hustle energy. What you put in is what you get out. Restrictions in money, not having the resources to do everything that you want to do. And then when you do get the resources, having to save it because you're not sure what it's going to look like tomorrow. And so always having to work and stack. And so he always has this thing where he says he's going to hustle for his last name. Because your name, Dash, or his name rather, Dash, is his family name, the entire family has to hustle for their last name. Dash is a hustler's name. So everybody in the family, because this is the hereditary name, has to hustle with that 13 energy. They have to work hard with that 13 energy. Now, on the Pythagorean side, it's a 14, so another addiction. So you have two addictions coming with this 14, 14 on the Pythagorean side. Now the soul number, 27.9 is his expression in the Chaldean. So this is talking about power, somebody who holds his scepter. He has power, control, and command. And so he's always going to be in a position of power. Remember, 9s are the universal leaders. And so they are always trying to get into a position of leadership. 3, born on the 3rd of the month. 3s like leadership as well, and they will always strive to be in a position of leadership. And so he has this 3 and this 9 wanting, vying for this position of leadership. And so 7, soul number, on a soul level, his passion is unveiling the truth, getting to the nitty gritty of things. And his personality is a 20. And 20 is the awakening. When we think about the tarot card, that's the card of the judgment. When you have the angel in the sky delivering the message, and the whole family is looking up at the angel, like, yes, bless us with this message. But 20 is a number of delays and obstacles to plans. It is not a lucky number. So 20 is a number that you have to have a spiritual backing or spiritual practice to clear out all the obstacles that will come to you or coming your way or obstruct you from achieving your goals. And so that 20 personality is saying that maybe he wants to have partnerships, right? It seems that way, but the partnerships never end up turning out for the best. And we're going to see why in a second. And my apologies for the background noise. This is Brooklyn, so you know it's live. It's hot in these streets. Now, on the Pythagorean side, he has a 28-1. That's his destiny. This is his name number, right? So in Chaldean, it's called the expression, and in the Pythagorean, it's called the destiny number. His soul number is a 7, and his personality number is a 21-3. So having a 28-1 destiny says it all. And this is why I say I need to look at both alphabets to be able to decode what's going on. When you have 28-1 as your name is what you're here to share with the world. It is your life's work. It is your purpose in life. And so when he says he has a show called Bosses Take Losses, absolutely. That is the embodiment of the 28-1. Because 1 is the boss energy, the leader, the innovator, the pioneer, coming out the gate, doing things differently, and having people carry out his vision, because 1s do not do the work. They have the grand idea and everybody else carries out the vision for them. But when you have that 28, 28 is the number of contradictions, and so contradicting yourself, but also being separated from your finances. And being separated from your finances in one of 3 ways, or maybe all 3, in his case, all 3. Rivalries in business, trusting in the wrong people professionally and personally, and having issues with the law. So you've seen him lose money in all of these ways. Partnering, right? The loss of Def Jam, marriage, divorces, child support, various lawsuits, rivalries in business, as we're seeing play out in the public right now. And so this 28-1 as his destiny is killing him. It's killing him. 28 is the number of somebody who has potential and they have good intentions, but if they don't save and budget their money for the future, they will always lose it and gain, because 28 ultimately is a 10. And so that is the number of the Wheel of Fortune. And so as long as you're putting good energy out, you're going to get that energy back, but you're losing and gaining, losing and gaining. So when he says bosses take losses, that is the energy of the 28-1, constantly taking losses to gain. And then on a soul level, again, wanting to unveil the truth. And then the personality is a 21-3, the number of the super victory, one who expresses himself very well, but also has won after a long fight, right? After a long battle, has come out victorious. But it seems like he is always battling, always fighting. And so this 28-1 is saying a lot. And this is on the Pythagorean side. And normally we use the Pythagorean alphabet when we are looking at the full name given at birth. But again, I look at the name, no matter what name I'm using, I look at both alphabets, Pythagorean and the Chaldean, because I want to see what these numbers are saying on both sides. So let me know what you're thinking about with this 28-1. Give me some insights about the number. Put it in the chat. Any of these numbers, if you've experienced working with them and how these energies work for you, because this is not just a Dame thing. We go through various cycles every year, and you may come into contact with a 28-1 as your personal year. And so understanding how this energy works can benefit you greatly. If you know that I'm coming up to a 28-1 personal year, let me save, let me stack my money, let me be mindful of the people who want to do business with me. So just think about all of that. You're very welcome, Lloyd. Anytime, anytime. Shout out to my CC Naturally at 29. Yes, girl, you know I got to break down the science for y'all, always giving y'all the real. So this is what's going on with his name, right? So let's move forward. So while all of this was going on, people were on these internet streets saying that Dame Dash is acting like Donald Trump. Is Dame Dash like Donald Trump? Get into the comments and put it up. Let me see what y'all think. Is Dame Dash like Donald Trump? In fact, let me get the poll up and y'all could just scan again and answer the poll. So you have some questions. You have yes, no, maybe, or this is a dumb question. Scan it in and put your response. Yes, no, maybe, or this is a dumb question. Scan it with your phone and answer yes, no, maybe, dumb question. All right, I got half and half, yes and maybe. Okay, what else we have? Come on, folks. Don't take long to just take a picture and no. Okay, so we have split 3 ways, yes, no, maybe. Ah, yes, 50. We're leading with the yes. In the meantime, Mark says, good evening, Jazz. I found the interview informative. I was born 8/12/76. I know my name is a 9 and my birthday is a 3. I wouldn't call him being rude. I think he was just painfully being honest. And you understand that, Mark, because you're born on the 12th of the month, and so you understand that 3 energy. And so I agree with you. That is the way that he was expressing himself. He was being brutally honest, but that is also the trait of a 3. They will tell you their truth because morals and the way that you deal with them is very important. All right, so we have yes leading the way. He does act like Donald Trump. Now, let me ask you this, and this is not a poll question. If this is the case, if the majority of us said yes, that he is acting like Donald Trump, what indications do you have? If you think about the names Dame Dash, Donald Trump, what indications do you have from the names that will tell you that they are acting similar or that they have similar characteristics? All right? Think of the name Dame Dash, Donald Trump. What characteristics do they have? Or what characteristics do the names have? That will kind of give you. The last names have multiple meanings. All right. Yes, it's still leading. Wow, this is eye-opening. Yes, it's still leading. That's interesting. And I'm glad nobody said it's a dumb question because it's a very valid question. They both are outspoken, confrontational, and unconventional. Ah, blissfully evolving. One of the words that you said that is so key and poignant is unconventional. Unconventional. I want you to hold on to that, family. Unconventional is absolutely right for the both of them. Outspoken for sure. Confrontational for sure. But the unconventional definitely pops out, and I'll show you why. All right, so I think we're at that. Any other thoughts about why they are similar? If not, let's go and see. So we have Dame Dash, we have Donald Trump. as we see, we know what Dame Dash's name looks like because we looked at that. And then we have Donald Trump. What are some similarities with the names? Now that you're seeing the numbers, what are some similarities with the names? Loud and male-centered. Very loud. Threes are loud when they get mad. Looking at this, what are some things that we're noticing with the names? He is showing Taurus ways. Really? Maureen, Maureen. Oh no. Tauruses are not so combative. I'm a Taurus. Tauruses are loving. With that 6 Venus energy. They both claim to be self-made. Yes, they do. All right, so let me tell y'all because time is of the interest. So when we're looking at Dame Dash, what letter does it start with? First name adds up to a 5. Yes, Denise, it does, which is a 14-5 for Dame. Dame Dash, Donald Trump. Let's think Dame Dash. For my people who are in the chat who have studied with me, like my CCs and my yo-yos, I'm calling y'all out. What's significant about that first letter for both of their names, Dame and Donald? What number signifies the D in Dame and Donald? They have threes, 3 4s in their names. Yes, Jolie James, you got it. Absolutely. 4 is the number of those who are odd and unusual. They are always going to lean to the side of that's unconventional. They have secret enemies because they're always taking the opposing side of an argument. They're easily wounded in their feelings. They hold on to things and they're going to come back and exact their revenge. That's what's going on with the two of them. And they have a plethora of 4s in their name. So Dame has the 4 with the D, the 4 with the M, the 4 with the D. Donald Trump has 4 4s in his name. He has the D, the T in the Chaldean, which is a 4, and the M, which is a 4. So when you have somebody who has a lot of D's in their name or M's, that's a lot of 4 energy. And so also when we think about the first letter of the name with that D, it's talking about facts. You can't come to a person with a D and talk about anything that is metaphysical or mystic. They want something that is factual. They want to see hard evidence as what you're saying being true. Prove it to them with hard evidence. And they are also feeling as though they are enclosed within a box because of that 4 energy. They feel very misunderstood. But what they need to realize is because they are so unorthodox and unconventional, they need to look beyond the facts and see all that it is, all of the possibilities, both factual, spiritual, things that they can see, and this way they'll see that they can unlock all of the doors with the keys that they have. So they have to remove themselves from that factual information. That's why when I was saying earlier, with Dame having that 20 personality, he has to have a spiritual practice in order to move out of the obstacles that he's going to face. 20 is a slow moving energy. So if you don't have a spiritual practice or know how to do spiritual work to clear out all of those obstacles, he will always find himself like being stagnated. You're welcome, Shupo, no problem. So this is the D's. Also, when you have somebody with a lot of 4s in their name, mental illness, depression, they're prone to those things because 4 is susceptible to mental illness. And it runs the gamut. It can be depression, it could be bipolarism, it could be a lot of things. All right, so if you're thinking about mental illness and all of the classifications that fall within that umbrella, they are prone to that. They also have very distinct voices. And so when people say that they're acting alike, yes, they are very much alike with those D's in their name. Also, Donald Trump has this 48, which is a very positive number, saying that one progresses easily without having to put in a lot of the work and the struggle and the grind. Very psychic number, that 48 as well. They have a harmonious marriage, or perceived to be a harmonious marriage, because Ivanka ain't looking like she messing with him too much. But then when you look at that 48, that adds up to a 12. And so that is the number of the sacrificial lamb, one who was sacrificed for the financial benefits and the joy of others. And then ultimately that's a 3. So talking a lot and also having that explosive temper. So they are similar. They have 3s and 4s in terms of the way that they express themselves. So yes, they do act similar to each other. Keep giving us hidden gems in numerology. Keep going deep. I try, Shupo. As long as they don't come for me. Maybe we do that a little bit. Denise is like, yeah, maybe we do. Maybe y'all do that. But yes, the D's. Think about that D with the 4 energy. So that is Donald Trump. So my suggestion, well, before I even get to my suggestion, let's look at the pinnacles. You know, I love the pinnacles and the pinnacle cycles, because this gives us so much information about the way that we progress through life. If you are moving through life and you don't know your pinnacle lessons and challenges, I'm telling you that you are repeating the same things over and over without understanding why. This will unlock many of life's answers to you, life's mysteries for you. So look at this. So when you're looking at the pinnacles, you have the month, the day, and the year. He is May, which is 5, 3rd, which is 3, and he was born in 1971, which is an 18, right? Because you have 10 and 8, that's 18, which is a 9. Now add that together, I have a 26-8 life path. And so the 26-8 life path, ultimately, he is here to learn about his relationship with money. Your life path is what you are here to learn about. When people come to you and they're like, oh, yes, I'm an 11 life path, I'm an 8 life path. It's just all they're saying is that I am learning to be this number. They are not that number. And the way that you learn to acquire your life path energy is by going through the pinnacle lessons and challenges. So he is learning to have a relationship with money, and he is learning that through the 26. 26 is a number of somebody who can be worldly and prosperous through the knowledge and the wisdom that they amass and share with the world, and also through their discipline. But 26 is one of those numbers that's similar to a 28. 26 is susceptible to financial ruin by having bad unions, bad partnerships, through gambling, bad investments, taking poor advice from someone. 26 is also a number that involves racketeering. It could also involve criminal activity. 26 is also a number where you can have disaster or just ruin on the whole by the people with whom you associate. And so he has to be extremely wise about his associations, the people with whom he does business, his family members, the people who he chooses to partner with in terms of love relationships. Everything needs to be evaluated, because 8 is a karmic number in numerology. 8 is governed by Saturn, and Saturn wants you to have the discipline, the structure, it wants you to understand law, but it also wants you to put in that work. What you reap is what you sow with that 8. And so he has a lot of karmic energy in his chart. When we get to the cards, you're going to see that. So that is his life path number. That is how he's learning his relationship with money, through his relationship with other people. That girl from yonder said, child, talk about it, right? Talk about it. These numbers tell a whole story. Thank you, Age for real. Thank you. Yeah, so let's get into these pinnacle lessons and challenges. Let's see what Melanator Brown said on kitchen duty, Jazz, but I love hearing your breakdowns. Oh, nice. Yes. You can wash your dishes as you listen. This is definitely washing dishes information. So We have the birth month, the birthday, and the birth year. This is how you do your pinnacle lessons and challenges. If you want to find out your own, take notes. Reduce your month, your day, and your year to a single digit. It should always be a single digit. This is one time in numerology where you even reduce master numbers to a single digit. So if you're born in November, single digit. The only time I do not reduce master numbers is if the month, the day, and the year are all master numbers. If it's not, reduce it to a single digit. Oh, Shupo said, I am a 26/8 life path. Oh, so Shupo, that applies to you. So definitely look at your associations and how you're managing your money. So now, the first pinnacle lesson, you're adding your birth month to the birthday. And so that 5 plus 3 is an 8 lesson. And his challenge, you're subtracting the birth month from the birthday, and that's a 2 challenge. So between the ages of birth and 28, he was in an 8 lesson and a 2 challenge. That's important to note because he came out the gate with lots of bread. He went to a fancy private school. His mom passed away at a very early age. He was still in high school when his mom passed away. And he remained on his own. He was hustling and he had money from a very early age. Teens. 8 lesson. Up until the time he was 28, money was flowing into his lap. Okay? And that is the energy of the 8. Working and amassing your money. Investing it is the energy of the 8. Possibly getting property because 8 is an earth number, so getting property. Now the challenge was a 2. 2 challenges means that he had a hard time working with others. Tact and diplomacy are still not his strong suit. And so understanding how to work with others, speaking with tact and diplomacy, understanding what it means to work as part of a team, that was his challenge. And so the lessons, when you're thinking about pinnacle lessons and challenges, the lessons are things that you willingly embrace. Like you say, you know to yourself, this is my lesson, I'm going to go through it and accept it. The challenge, you are apprehensive. You are going in kicking and screaming. You are not necessarily embracing that challenge because ultimately the challenge is still a lesson if you're willing to accept it as such. Paul, thank you so much because you just broke down for me my life path, I think. Ah, you're very welcome. I am an 1122. Tell me how you got that, Goddess Akasha. Tell me how you broke that down. I'm not sure what that means. And 4s and 8s. My niece born 8/8/88, 17 minutes to an 8, and she is bipolar. Absolutely, Joyce. 4s and 8s are not really considered lucky numbers in numerology because of their mental leanings. 8s are not really considered to be having mental disorders, but they do suffer from despondency. They do suffer from being misunderstood. And so 4s and 8s are the numbers. I wouldn't say they're unlucky. I would just say that they're the ones who are misunderstood in terms of the numbers. And so having that 8888 energy for your niece, she is going to be brilliant when it comes to business and being an executive and managing money. But in terms of her social interactions with people, she'll be highly misunderstood because they don't show their emotions, 8s. They keep everything under the vest. And so people think that they don't feel. Oh, I added my birthday, 8/3. So 8 and 3 is 11, and okay, 10 and 12, that is 22. So 11, 20, that's a 33. That's a 33/6. You're a 33/6 life path. So we have the next cycle. You're adding the birthday to your birth year. So when I add the 3 and the 9, that's a 12, and I'll talk about that. And 1 plus 2 is 3. And then when I do the subtraction of the birthday and the birth year, I get a 6 challenge. And so he has, between the ages of 29 and 37, a 3 lesson and a 6 challenge. And so the 3 lesson is not just any lesson. This is a 12/3 lesson. And so between the ages of 29 and 37, he was sacrificed. He was the sacrificial lamb. And it was during this time that he lost Rockefeller. He lost his leg or his portion of the record company, right? He was bought out. I think he was bought out at 33 years old, which is very young. And so that 3 lesson talks about one, again, who is sacrificed for the financial gain and benefit of others. It is the victim number, one who suffers from anxiety, one who presents as a victim, one who people will take advantage of. And so that 3, him expressing himself, 3 is all about speaking your authentic truth, being creative. And so he was speaking his authentic truth about the slights that he felt with the breakup between he and his business partners. And so he has that 3 lesson. And the 6th challenge was challenges with the family. And so challenges in his marriage, challenges with karmic family, which we'll talk about, right? So 6th challenge, family challenges. And so definitely thinking about that. So at the time that your business is breaking down and you're feeling like you're being sacrificed for others to gain, you're also going through divorces and such, issues with the family. I remember you said he was sacrificing. See that shade, Sienna? So the numbers don't lie. I go to the gym, I'll be listening in the car. Thank you, Dana. Does Pinnacle have 4 cycles? Yes, there are 4 cycles in the Pinnacle cycles. Absolutely. You're very welcome, Goddess Akasha. Very welcome. Oh, Shades, I am a life path 886. So 6 and 5 is 11. And then you have 10 and 14, which is a 24, 6. 11, 6, 17, 8. Yep, absolutely. So that is between the ages of 29 and 37. So now the next cycle, we're adding your first lesson to your second lesson, which is an 11. And then your challenge, you're subtracting your first challenge from your second challenge, which is a 4. So between the ages of 38 and 46, he was in an 11 lesson and a 4 challenge. 11 is the number of the wounded healer. It is a master number, but I tell people, don't always be so eager to jump on that 11 energy, because 11, you become the way shower, the one who lights the way for others by going through betrayals and deceptions. That's the energy of 11. Hidden dangers, betrayals, and deceptions. But the 11's job is to turn those wounds into words of wisdom. And so you are ultimately taking on the brunt of the hurt. You are taking on the blows. You are taking on the deceptions so that you can show people and heal people who are going through the same thing. And so this is something that is a tall order. It's given to people who, one, can handle it, and 2, can share it. But you have to be willing to absorb all of that energy, right? 11 is a 2, and that's that water energy, all those emotions flowing under the surface. And so you are taking all of that in to ultimately light the way and light the path for others. It does not come easy, that 11 energy. So when people want to run and say, oh, I'm an 11 life path, I'm an 11 destiny, okay, what does that mean? Because if you are not willing to take on that 11, then you're just a 2. Which is not a bad thing, because I have some clients who are like, listen, Jack, I don't even want to be an 11. I don't want that responsibility. I want to be Susie Homemaker in my 2 energy and just be the mediator and just have peace and love. That's fine. That is fine. It's definitely your choice. But we can say for Dame, with that 11 lesson, he was definitely lighting the way, being a visionary for people. He is still very much a visionary, because a lot of the things that he did was before their time, right? And so he has a 4 challenge. When you have a 4 challenge, this is saying that the work is a challenge. When you think of 4, don't think of foundation, think of work first. 4 is all about work and effort. If you don't put that work and effort in, you have nothing upon which to build a foundation, right? So 4 is a saying that he has a challenge with working, having discipline, setting up structures, and having a routine, because 4 requires all of that. 4 requires you to save. Waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not. Those are words from Lloyd, right? Lend not, borrow not. And that's a good conversation to have, because he was talking on the Breakfast Club, and you guys weigh in on this, because the energy is still the same in his fourth pinnacle. He has a 5 lesson and a 4 challenge. I'm adding the month and the year. So that's a 14-5 at the 4 lesson, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the reason why I want to jump to what he said in the interview is because he has a 4 lesson, a 4 challenge for the rest of his life, excuse me. So he has a 4 challenge for the rest of his life, and that 4, waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not. And there was a question on the interview when he asked, if you are a billionaire and you are borrowing money from a lender or from a partnering company versus somebody who has no debt, who is the one who is richer? Who is the one who's actually poor? Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you. Beautiful breakdown between Dame and Donald, especially with all the 4s. Who is the one who is actually poor with that? So get into the chat. You are a billionaire. You have investors who you are borrowing money from. How many millions you're borrowing from? And then you have this entrepreneur who does not borrow money from investors, but he has absolutely no debt. Who is richer than the other? Who is richer than the other? I need to let. Y'all are quiet. Like people are thinking about this one. I don't see. Okay, so entrepreneur, the entrepreneur. CC, Yo, the Sash. Absolutely. Both of you ladies are correct. The one with no debt. So that's what he said, and he was absolutely right. Absolutely right. The moment you take out a line of credit for your business, you are in debt. And so when we think about Kanye West, he was a billionaire prior to that rant that he had on X. And then after that, he lost his partnership with Adidas, even though he was the highest grossing partnership. And then he was knocked back down to the double millions, which is still a lot of money, but he's no longer a billionaire. So when you're thinking about that billionaire status, you have to think about, is it liquid? If they're not billionaires in liquid form, they're not billionaires, right? So it's billionaires on paper. And that is what he was trying to say. A lot of these people who are presented to us as billionaires are beholding to their investment partners. They're beholding to them financially, and they're beholden to them in terms of their agenda. So whatever agenda they want them to push, they have to push it because they are holding the purse strings. And so we have to be very mindful of that. The person who borrowed because he's not using his own money, absolutely, Gail. So yes, we have to think about that. He was absolutely right about that. And Cece, you're right. Credit equals poison. It took me a long time to learn that. I'm learning it now. Living with no debt, using my cash for business is less pressure. Yep, go to sleep well at night. Agreed, Shukul. Jay didn't get his Times Square casino. I know. He didn't get his Times Square casino, and then Nas gets his in Queens, which is like, what, an $5 billion expansion in Queens? It's like, wow, I don't know how he's feeling about that. But not that I want to harp on him because he's one who doesn't like people to do stuff on him. But his birthday's coming. And when you reduce his birth month, day, and year, he'll be in a 16-7 personal year. So this is just the beginning of what he will experience. I would say the one with no debt. That's right, Eartha. That is right. So blissfully evolving. 8/22/1958. First ended for me at 28 to 32nd. Ended for me at 37. Third ended for me at 46 to 44th. To the end of life 5 now. Are these accurate for me, Jazz? So no, I didn't show you all how to do the ages because we only have 10 minutes left. Time is flying. But I will definitely show you guys that. So really quickly, isn't Nas a Libra? He is a Virgo. September 14th, 10 of clubs, same as Amy Winehouse. Yep, girl from Yonder said, oh, exactly, right? Oh, this is like another beef, another like ether situation going on. So to find the ages when you're doing the pinnacle lessons and challenges, you have to know your life path number. So that is 8 in this instance. And then you're going to subtract that 8 from 36. Why 36? Because there are 4 pinnacle cycles and they end in the 9 personal year, except for the last one, because the last one, it ends when you pass away. But generally they end in 9-year intervals. So I'm going to subtract this 8 from 36, and that gives me 28. And so for the first cycle is from birth to whatever number you got when you subtracted your life path from 36. In his case, it's 28. Now I'm adding 9 to this number, so that gives me 37. So that's the end of my second cycle. And so my second cycle begins at 29, ends at 37. I'm adding 9 to this 37, which gives me 46. And so this cycle begins at 38, ends at 46. And then the last cycle begins from whatever number you end with, which is 47 onward. We need more time with you. I know, Eartha, I know. Definitely. I'm going to go over a little bit, so no worries. But that's how you do the ages. You're subtracting your life path number from the number 36. And then you're going from 0, which is birth, to that number. So let's just say, like in my case, I'm a life path 11. So I'm reducing that 11 to a 2. I'm subtracting 2 from 36. So this would be 0 to 34. Then I'm adding 9 to 34, which will give me a 43. I'm adding 9 to 43, which would give me a 52. And so my first cycle, 0 to 34. Second cycle, 35 to 43. Third cycle, which I'm in now, 44 to 52. And then my last cycle will be from 53 onward. That's how you do that. So he's in an 8 personal year, Dame Dash. And so it's all about the money for him, right? Right now, he's trying to, let me not say trying because words are spells. So he is building a legacy for himself because he's in a 17-8 personal year. And so putting the building blocks together so that he can have something for his family. He was saying a lot in the interview, the family office, and not putting things in your name, putting things in the family office's name, which is important. And then talking about the bankruptcy conversation. And people think because people file bankruptcy, they're broke. That is not the case, which is his similarity to Trump, because Trump has filed bankruptcy several times, but it doesn't mean that he's broke. Right? And so his investments could be in another name. He can have his money, but the investments that he has made, he's filing bankruptcy, right? So it's definitely something to ponder and think about, but everything is not what it seems in the world of business. And so we definitely need to look at those things. So let's move to my suggestions. So we looked at his name at the Dame Dash. We looked at his pinnacle lessons and challenges. We see why everything is what's going on, what it is. What is my suggestion to Dame to kind of offset what he is feeling right now? And that is change his name. And not really change it, just use the name he was born with. He doesn't have to use his middle name. His middle name is Anthony. We don't want to use that because I think that's a 16-7 energy. And so he's going to use Damon Dash. That's it. Damon Dash. The reason why is because in both alphabets, in the Chaldean and the Pythagorean, it's a 34-7. And 34 is a number of somebody who is psychic, who is prophetic, who understands and commands the occult. And they also are very calm, meditative, reserved, sophisticated. And that's the energy that he needs to embody right now. He needs to just be quiet. 7 is the energy of being quiet. 7 is an energy of someone who does their work. They're always analyzing, always observing, always researching, always writing, answering and asking a lot of questions. And so sitting by water, contemplating in nature, meditating, that's the energy that he needs to embody right now. He needs to go underground. Even though with the Damon, his name will be a 21 on the Chaldean side, so he'll still talk a bit, but he'll be more reserved in what it is that he's sharing. He'll be more mysterious. He will hold some things back. He will be analyzing more. He will be using his metaphysical knowledge and abilities. He'll be studying the metaphysics. I think that's the energy that we need for him right now. I find these rappers are talking way too much. It's crazy to me. It's like you leave the music industry where you have these quote unquote orchestrated rap beefs to come on YouTube and podcasts and have the same beefs. It's like you left one medium to go to another medium to do the same thing. And who is the puppet master controlling all of this? The same person who was in control in Def Jam is now the person who's in control of YouTube and orchestrating the same thing between the same players. It's crazy that they don't even recognize that this is what this man is doing. I'm not going to call his name. I already did a video on all of them. If you go onto my website, which is scrolling at the bottom, jazzaphrodite.com, I did a video on Dame and several other people in the music industry. It's a short video, but it's very succinct and straight to the point, and you'll see who I'm discussing. But same person, Def Jam, now controls YouTube and YouTube music and orchestrating the same energy between the same players who were in Def Jam. So it's really ill. It's crazy how this works, but 34/7 is the energy that he needs. We need quiet. Stop talking. That's all. Just stop talking. He did himself in when he spoke about that Revolt partnership and the acquisition. And I said this in a previous live. Even if you have plans and you're discussing things with partners, don't discuss it in a public forum at all until it's final. Never discuss your plans with anybody until it's final. You have people who call you and they're like, oh, so what you working on? Nothing. Mind your business, because people are calling to fish for information. You're going on a public platform, the radio, to talk about a partnership that you may or may not have, which gives your enemies, who are very powerful, because remember, with all those fours in his name, he has secret enemies. You're giving your enemies the chance to make a phone call and just say, yo, dead that. Put out a press release saying that that's not the case. It's crazy. Stop talking. Stop talking. Do not talk about anything that you're doing until it is complete. People don't need to have the 411 about what it is that you're doing. They will discuss it and they will see it once it is brought into fruition, right? And so Revolt came through and said that they did not have any deals with Dame Dash. There is no talks about acquisition. There is no talks about anything. They spoke briefly about possibly licensing his podcast on their platform, but that's it. Yes, Revolt immediately published a denial because they got the phone call like, yo, dead that. That's a wrap. Yes, Queen Bee. That part. Stop talking. It's just too much talking. I don't understand. I used to work with men in the phone company, and I understand how they talk. They gossip worse than women, but it's ridiculous how it's playing out on the YouTube. It's crazy. Stop talking. So that's my advice to him. Use Damon Dash. Get rid of Dame, because Dame is causing you too much bankruptcy, too much money being lost with Dame. Damon Dash, 34/7, tap into this spiritual energy, because you're going to need it to go against the enemies that you have, because they all know how to tap into their spiritual gifts and abilities. So you got to get up. His phone number would be a 9, which is also a very spiritual number. And his personality would be a 25/7, one who is protected from black magic, safe on water, has prophetic dreams, and still doing his research and his spiritual work. I think it'll be better for him with the 797 energy as opposed to having this Dame Dash. And then on the other alphabet, the Pythagorean, 34/7 destiny, 8 soul, so he's still about the money, and a 26 personality, 26/8. So again, money, but being mindful of his partnerships, because now with this 34/7, he will have the discernment to see who is right for him in partnership and who is not. Thank you, Letitia. If we want to understand our lessons and challenges, is this in your book? Absolutely. It's in the first one. Numbers decoded, cards unfolded. Stop telling everybody you are pregnant. Exactly. Nobody needs to know when the baby is coming or what kind of gender you're having or when it's due. Mind your business. It's too fast. Too fast. So this is it. That's my suggestion. So now let's look at what was going on his plates with the cards, right? I did not look at his life spread because, again, I already did that. And so you can look on my website and see that video. So I looked at the plate that he was on when this interview took place. And so Damon Dash, May 3rd, 1971. We're going to find his card. So he is born in May. So we're taking the number 55, doubling the month. May is 5, so that's 10. And 3 is his birthday. We're subtracting 10 and 3 from 55, we get 42, which is the 3 of spades. So he is the 3 of spades. That's my Jupiter card. Right? And so the 3 of spade is the card of the artist, somebody who's very psychic and artistic. And so it's also the card of the crossroads. And so right now he is at a crossroads. And so when I asked the earlier question about whether he's going through a breakdown or a breakthrough, I think it's a mixture of both. This is the breakdown before the breakthrough. And so I think this is a good thing. We're just seeing it play out on a public stage, which is fine because that's the 8 life path. And 8 will be either a huge success or a huge failure. And things play out for them on the world stage. And so there's no in between for an 8. And so we're seeing that play out with his life path number. He is not in the 55 club yet. He's younger than all of them. He's 54. Is there a chart that breaks down the meaning of your numbers? Yes, there is in my first book. There's not a chart, but it's written in my first book, Blissfully Evolving. I'll put the book up for sale sometime after the holidays. I just had it up for sale, so I'll get a new batch. But 3 of spades is his card. And so on the week that he had the interview with the Breakfast Club, he was on plate 2. And we're going to look at his card here. So 3 of spades, that was his sun card. This is he, sitting in the 9 of clubs house. And 9 of clubs is the card of the universal knowledge, somebody who has a lot of knowledge and they want to share it with the world. 9 of clubs is also the card of court. So court proceedings and all of that being challenged by the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts is the card of the mother. It's also a card that sits Neptune, Neptune. So it's a card that is often misunderstood. You don't see the Queen of Hearts well, right? Definitely don't see that. It's card of addictions. Queen of Hearts sitting Neptune, Neptune. It's being challenged by these addictions. People saying that, oh, he's a weed head. Cameron saying, I got him smoking weed and now he's hooked on this weed. Like he don't know how to get off the weed. Stop smoking the reefer. So Queen of Hearts, addictions. We spoke about that with that 14-5. But 9 of clubs, the card of court. And we have a lot of lawsuits that he's filing as a result of this interview. At least he says he is. So this is where he was sitting. Now let's see. The card that is crowning him, that's sitting on top of him, is the 6 of Hearts. And the 6 of Hearts is the card of karmic relationships. In Cardology, 6s represent karma and balance. And so wanting to find that balance in relationships, but it's definitely a karmic relationship. He has a bunch of karmics around him. Most of his relationships are with karmics, people who he has karmic connections with. Cameron, 50, Jay, Charlemagne, Envy, all of those people are karmic people. And so karmic relationships being supported by the 5 of clubs, which is the card of conversation, is also the card of debate. And so they were having a serious debate on the Breakfast Club, and they were challenged by the 5 of hearts. Relationships that are separated, strained, has distance between them. And so definitely distant relationships as a result of this karmic energy. And so that's the energy that was crowning him that week. Karmics, relationships, debates with his karmic connections with whom he has distant relationships. Brandon says, I worked with Dame for a week. He would roll at least 20 joints a day but only take 3 puffs from each one. Weird. And he had major anger issues then. Yes, see? That weed, 20 joints a day, but only taking 3 puffs from each one. Yes, the anger issues is crazy because we perceive it as him being angry, but that's just the way threes are. Him being born on the 3rd of the month, threes go from 0 to 1,000 very quickly. Very quickly. They're very explosive. All those fire number energies, ones, nines, threes, 0 to 1,000 very quickly. Then his moon card is the Jack of Hearts. This is the card that pushes you into the week, the year, the month, whatever spread you're in. And so with this Jack of Hearts, this is the card of spiritual sacrifice. And so him again feeling sacrificed coming into this week, feeling as though people are sacrificing his integrity, sacrificing him, sacrificing his credibility on a world stage. So that Jack of Hearts is right there saying, yep, this is the energy that's pushing you in. So this is his weekly spread. And when you start the weekly spread, the first day of the week is the day on which he was born. He was born on a Monday. So that's the 2 of spades. The interview took place on a Tuesday. So that's the 2 of hearts, which I found to be absolutely amazing. Because on Tuesday, he was in the 2 of hearts, which was September 16th. That was his Venus card. And the 2 of hearts is the card of the mogul. And so he is the mogul, being supported by that mogul status, being supported by wanting to have partnerships and unions and people loving him with that 2 of hearts energy. He wanted to come on the radio to be endeared, for people to fall in love with him again with that 2 of hearts energy, fall in love with the mogul, impart that mogul knowledge. I have my books that I'm going into school with. I have my sneakers that I'm selling. I have my jewelry line that I'm dropping. I have my shows that I'm putting on Revolt. I have my podcast, Bosses Take Losses. I have all of this going on because I am still the self-made mogul. But the 2 of hearts is a semi-fixed card. And you know it's partner because the partner sits at the bottom right here. And the partner to the 2 of hearts is the Ace of Clubs. And who is the Ace of Clubs? Jump in the chat and tell me who y'all think the Ace of Clubs is that's challenging him. The Ace of Clubs is sitting in the challenging karma card position. Who do you think is the Ace of Clubs that was challenging him on this particular day? Thank you, Chickazees. Thank you so much. Who do you think the Ace of Clubs was that was challenging him on this particular Tuesday? Come on, y'all. I wish I had the soundtrack to put on the Jeopardy music. Yes, right. DJ Ronnie Ron, Charla. Charlemagne is born June 29th, and he is the Ace of Clubs. Yep. Yes, yo, Charlemagne. Yes, yo, Charlemagne. You are absolutely right. Charlemagne the God is an Ace of Clubs. So he was challenging him, which is what he did on the interview. And that was the energy that was in the day. And so Charlemagne was well within his right to challenge him because that was the energy of the day that he was in. So these energies play out. It's not personal. It's just the energies. It's all written. Everything is written. And so that's what he was feeling, that challenge. He wanted to go on as the endeared mogul. And Charlemagne was like, nope, that's not going to be the case. Not today. Not today. I am challenging you. And this is Charlemagne's partner. The 2 of hearts is a very familiar energy to Charlemagne because he switches with that energy all the time. So It's crazy how these cards speak. And then I looked to see what card that was sitting in his house on that day, or that week rather, and the Jack of Clubs is sitting in the house of the Three of Spades. And the Jack of Clubs is speaking your truth with authority. And so that Jack of Clubs is saying that he came on the show, Three of Spades Dame, speaking his truth with authority. He did. As someone said earlier, he was very confrontational, but he was speaking what he believed to be his truth. What was challenging him is the Six of Diamonds, karmic debt. Six of Diamonds is karmic debt. It is financial debt. So that Six of Diamonds is talking about financial debt that was challenging him in this conversation. So while he is speaking his truth with authority, this topic of his financial debt is coming up. What did Charlemagne say? He called him Debt Dash, and he's going to open up a record company called Debt Jam, right? And so this is the Six of Diamonds that was challenging what he was talking about. Debt Dash, Debt Jam. Also, this is the individual that I was speaking about earlier who is controlling YouTube and who used to be in control over at Def with an F Jam, right? So it's all related, all related. If you know who I'm speaking about, you can put the initials in the chat. Don't put the name, put the initials in the chat. But that's right. Thank you, DJ Ronnie Ron. Six of Diamonds. Still controlling everything from behind the scenes. It's crazy. No problem at all. No problem. No need to be sorry. But that's the crazy part about what was going on. So when we see these numbers and these cards, they tell a story. They completely tell the full story. So I didn't even have to look at his year. I just looked at the week that he was in and it just told what was going on. But this interview is iconic. So iconic. So iconic. It will go down in the books as one of the best, especially the first one. The 360 is horrible to the artist. It sure is. It's crazy. That's why people should just put their own work out. The hardest part about putting your work out is the distribution. That I will say. Getting it out to mass media, getting it out to the world is the hardest part. But I'm just resigned. Put your work out and let the ancestors and the spirits do everything for you on your behalf. It's going to take some time, but just allow the time to run its course. Check your Star 8 app. That's it. So that's it, family. I hope that you enjoyed the breakdown. I tried to make it as in-depth as possible so that you can see that Dame is having a breakdown that's going to lead to a breakthrough, especially if he follows my advice and changes or uses the name Damon Dash as opposed to Dame. So before we go, because it's 8:14, I kept y'all 14 minutes over, but it was worth it. Thank you, DJ Ron. Thank you. So what we're gonna do is give homage to our sponsors, and then we're going to get up on out of here. And Lloyd will be back with y'all on Wednesday. But I thank y'all so much for being with me. Again, cop the first book, Knocking from the Inside, available on Audible as well as jazzaphrodite.com. Download Soul First Master 24 Hours Master Life by Uchenna Hackett. It is on Amazon. I put the link in the chat earlier on today. And then we have the $20 off on the Keys Chart Consult with your key name, your key days, your key dates, your key periods, and your life path by my girl Queen B, Melinda Valentine. Also grab her journals. She has the air signs reflections. She has the fire signs, the earth, and the water signs reflection journal. So grab that. Then we have King Simon numeration consult, Virgo discount, September 22nd. New seniors 40% discount. So you have 30 to 60 minutes off. Then you have Kimberly, where you get your business of numerology, Get the book, purchase it, read it, leave a review, send her the screenshot, and she will send you a mini business report. Get your Recept app or Reception app. It's downloading your own receptionist. And you can call and scan for inquiries. Check out Lloyd on Big E Astrology, October 2nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also get your September monthly moon report from Lloyd's website. You can also check out the September 2025 Astro Numerology forecast with Lloyd and Kimberly. Download the Star 8 app, and we will be back with y'all on Wednesday. So thank you, family, for sitting in with me. This has been dope, and I hope y'all learned a lot. And you can definitely reach out to me if you have any questions, but definitely go on my website, click on media, and you can see the other video that I did with Dame Dash talking about all the players in the game with him. In the meantime, have a great night, and we will see you back here on Wednesday.